Welcome to Suya e-learning for food security, climate change, school feeding program, nutrition education for all. When you have bad governance and poor accountability from your local government leaders, then you are doomed to live under control of cartels and fools. We hope you subscribe to our channel YouTube at Suya Mombasa and share this links with your friends or family.
Health and nutrition have significant impact on the overall educational achievements of school-aged children. Ensuring that children are well-fed, healthy and able to learn is essential to the effectiveness of an education system. The main goal of the school meals program is to support the government's effort towards attainment of universal primary education, UPE, and education for all, EFA. It has become a significant strategy for reaching marginalized communities, especially girls in the OSIL districts. The program has helped to increase enrollment, prevent dropout and stabilize attendance at assisted pre-primary and primary school. 1.1 Regular School Meals Program, SMP. The regular program involves the physical distribution of food commodities to schools. The bulk of the food is imported, though there are certain cases when food is procured locally, especially cereals. The regular SMP is implemented with support of World Food Programme, WFP, and provides midday meal tea. From a point of view, the statement itself suggests that people with right attitude and choices can escape poverty. Implicitly, this also means that people are poor because they aren't working hard and they once made bad choices and decisions that landed them in poverty and kept them there. Poverty is a state of mind that can be changed by self-belief. Staying happy with the bare minimum and having a rich mindset will be effective. We can focus on things we have rather than those we want to have. Happiness can be attained without a huge amount of money.
Children and young people have the same general human rights as adults and also specific rights that recognize their special needs. Children are neither the property of their parents nor are they helpless objects of charity. They are human beings and are the subject of their own rights. The Convention on the Rights of the Child sets out the rights that must be realized for children to develop to their full potential. The vision of the World Food Programme, WFP, is to reduce hunger among school children, so that hunger is not an obstacle to their development. The school feeding program is a significant intervention by WFP to help reduce vulnerability to hunger and protect and promote livelihoods by investing in human capital through better health, nutrition, and education. WFP has worked with governments and non-governmental organizations, NGOs, on school feeding programs for more than 45 years. Children start life as totally dependent beings. Children must rely on adults for the nurture and guidance they need to grow towards independence. Such nurture is ideally found from adults in children's families, but when primary adult caregivers cannot meet children's needs, it is up to the state as the primary duty bearer to find an alternative in the best interests of the child. The normal school, now called a teacher's college, was developed to indoctrinate teachers into the system of the common school, ensuring that there would be a coherent approach to the processing of students. If this sounds parallel to the notion of factories producing items in bulk, of interchangeable parts, of the notion of measurement and quality, it's not an accident. In the connection revolution, value is not created by increasing the productivity of those manufacturing a good or a service. Value is created by connecting buyers to sellers, producers to consumers, and the passionate to each other. The good jobs of the future aren't going to involve working for giant companies on an assembly line. They all require individuals willing to chart their own path, whether or not they work for someone else. The future of our economy lies with the impatient, the linchpins and the artists and the scientists who will refuse to wait to be hired and will take things into their own hands, building their own value, producing outputs others will gladly pay for. The networked revolution is creating huge profits, significant opportunities, and a lot of change. What it's not doing is providing millions of brain-dead, corner office, follow the manual middle-class jobs. And it's not going to. Growing your own food is the most sustainable way to feed yourself and your family. When we grow our own food, we eat seasonally, locally, and sustainably. Growing your own food is like taking a master class in nutrition. Starting a garden. If you have a garden in your library, everything will be complete. Marcus Tullius Cicero. Life begins the day you start a garden. Chinese proverb. There are always flowers for those who want to see them. Henri Matisse. He who plants a garden plants happiness. Chinese proverb. More grows in the garden than the gardener sows. Spanish proverb. Gardening is cheaper than therapy, and you get tomatoes. Gardening is easy. Stick it in the ground the right way up and most plants will grow perfectly well. Monty Don. Most plants taste better when they've had to suffer a little. Deanna Kennedy.
In the heart of Kenya, where food is more than just sustenance, it's a way of life, a revolutionary machine is about to change the way we think about making chapatis. Introducing the world's first automated chapati making machine, designed to bring tradition and innovation together. With precision engineering, this machine combines flour, water, and a pinch of magic to create the perfect dough, consistently, every time. The chapatis are cooked to perfection on a giant griddle, flipping and browning with precision, each one a masterpiece of tradition and technology. In just a few hours, this machine can produce 1 million chapatis, feeding entire communities and revolutionizing food production in Kenya. In Kenya, where chapatis are more than just food, this machine is a game changer. A perfect blend of tradition, technology, and innovation, feeding the future.
In Kenya, school-going children and adolescents spend most of their time in school, about 75% of the year, where they consume more than half of their daily meals. The school environment is, therefore, a suitable platform for promoting and providing healthy diets as a strategy to reduce the risks of malnutrition and realize the right to adequate food and nutrition for children as envisaged in the Constitution. Recognizing the critical role of schools in children's lives, both in education and nutrition, the government of Kenya and development partners initiated the School Meal Program in 1980, aimed at providing midday meals to children in public primary schools, especially those in arid, semi-arid areas and urban slums that are prone to droughts and food insecurity. On the 13th of January 2021, the Kenya Debt Abolition Network, KDAN, which is a social movement of Kenyan individual and organization whose main aim is to call for abolition of Kenyan illegal, illegitimate and odious debts through evidence-based processes like citizen debt audit and calling for public participation in the process of incurring debts with support from the Committee for the Abolition of Illegitimate Debts, CADTM. 1. Hosted the Kenyan Debt Dialogue. The meeting was called on the backdrop the Kenyan increasing sovereign debt that has now reached a crisis level and has simply become unsustainable. The meeting was also motivated by the fact that despite the Kenyan debts being unsustainable, Kenyan government appetite for debt seems to be increasing unmitigated.
Generally, small-scale farmers in Africa are net food buyers and among the poorest people. Usage of inputs is dismal, infrastructure is lacking, extension support is minimal, financing options are inadequate and market linkages are too weak to support improved productivity. Start by transforming the agricultural and food systems through increased quantity and quality of investments, with a bias towards building the resilience of smallholder farmers. Governments should progressively increase spending on agriculture from the current low of 4.1% of national budgets to at least 10% in every country. Climate and nutritionally sensitive local food systems can significantly contribute to healthy food diets. Government should be allowed to implement policies that reduce risk for farmers and consumers, subsidizing credit and inputs, guaranteeing prices, ensuring strategic reserves of food and providing appropriate agricultural extension support. A wholesale reliance on export crops and market. $1 billion will be spent on the acquisition of modern equipment that will enable inmates to receive skills that will in turn help them produce high-quality products. The government will spend $2 billion to buy modern farming equipment to mechanize all prison farms. The government will spend $3 billion to improve correctional facilities and the welfare of prisoners and prison staff across the country, Interior CS Kithio Kindiki has said. He said on Monday $1 billion will be spent on the acquisition of modern equipment that will enable inmates to receive skills that will in turn help them produce high-quality products. The CS said the government is determined to restore the dignity of inmates by providing decent uniforms, mattresses and beds. We are determined to entrench reforms that our prisons so desperately require to rescue them from their dilapidated state. We also prioritize the welfare of inmates and prison staff, and in a bid to restore their dignity The county government is committed to ensuring that public offices are well managed and they are cost-effective in delivering quality service to the public in line with provisions of the Constitution of Kenya. The county government recognizes that departments/boards hold a vital key in the implementation of county priority programs and projects, other national priorities including the Big Four initiatives, in order to improve the quality of lives of the people of county and make the county competitive. The purpose of this performance contract is to establish the basis for ensuring that efficient and effective services are delivered to the people of local county in line with the provisions of the Constitution, and by requiring departments to adapt systems that enable innovativeness and adaptability of public services to the needs of users. This performance contract therefore represents a basis for continuous performance improvement that meets the needs and expected. Engaging in digital innovations equips youth with a unique set of skills that build a synergy between indigenous knowledge and modern technology, thereby enhancing youth leadership, technological proficiency, environmental stewardship, and entrepreneurship in agroecology. Digital innovation in agroecology not only offers youth meaningful opportunities for economic growth through agroecological entrepreneurship, but also empowers them to take ownership of their future. It also enhances their resilience to challenges such as climate change and market volatility, while deepening their connection with the environment and positioning them as key protectors of the planet's natural resources. Key pillars of youth digital innovation in agroecology. Digital marketplaces for agroecological products. The rise of e-commerce platforms and mobile applications has opened new avenues for youth to access both local and global markets. By leveraging digital marketplaces, young agroecological entrepreneurs can sell their sustainably produced goods directly to consumers, ensuring fair prices and reducing the carbon footprint with traditional supply chains. Support education and digital skills development in agroecology, including integrating digital literacy and environmental education into school curricula and establishing vocational training centers focused on digital innovations in agroecology sustainable food systems. Innovation, digital technologies. Youth are driving the adoption of digital solutions including mobile applications for farm management, and digital platforms, for example, Facebook, Twitter, X, TikTok, Instagram and others, to create environmental, biodiversity and sustainable farming practices awareness, thus building civic consciousness in agroecology. Capacity building. Through digital learning, digital platforms are enhancing access to knowledge, allowing young agroecological entrepreneurs to learn from global best practices, participate in online workshops, and share their own experiences. This exchange of knowledge is vital in scaling sustainable practices across different contexts.
Versatile learner. One who purposefully seeks new information to expand his/her knowledge base and uses that information to impact the world. One who can adapt his/her thinking in ways that allow for open discussion, intellectual pursuit, and lifelong learning. Community builder. One who values relationships as the foundation of community life. One who sees his/her role in society as an opportunity to serve others. One who has the ability to interact positively with others from different backgrounds, beliefs, and mindsets.
Nutrition education helps to build the capacities for people to feed themselves and their families well. Get the right foods at the right prices. Prepare healthy foods and meals which they enjoy. The role of nutrition education, objectives. Increase awareness. To raise awareness about the importance of nutrition education as a critical tool in addressing hunger and promoting informed food choices among vulnerable populations. Enhance food security. By offering specialized nutrition education programs to marginalized populations, to increase access to nutrient-dense food and decrease food insecurity. Empower individuals. To empower individuals with the knowledge and skills necessary to make healthier food choices, manage their resources efficiently, and thereby reduce the prevalence of malnutrition. Reduce childhood malnutrition. To decrease the rates of childhood malnutrition through nutrition education initiatives in schools and communities.
Achievement goal theory holds that, when performing achievement-related tasks, individuals can fluctuate in their state of involvement directed toward task or ego goals. That is, they can be more or less task than ego involved at any point during task engagement. Wanting to complete a task for the purpose of self-improvement and learning as much as possible. Wanting to avoid a task because they feel they won't learn as much as they need to in order to complete the task. The desire to complete a task in order to outperform a peer group, achieve the appearance of superiority, and receive a reward. What is an example of achievement theory? Achievement motivation definition, theory and examples. An achievement motivation example can be a person who is striving to become a manager of a sales company. This person is likely to set small realistic goals monthly. These goals would show actionable steps to improve one's craft. Striving to work towards that goal is imperative in achievement motivation. The desire to avoid the task to evade embarrassment, shame, self-doubt, or public failure. It's truly food for knowledge when tillage begins, other arts follow. The farmers therefore are the founders of human civilization. Daniel Webster 150 years ago. However, it seems critically pertinent today as more family farms disappear each day, thus moving our children further and further away from connection with the earth. Our food sources also move further and further away. That is not good. That is dangerous. That is wasteful. What can we do? Support the family farms by continuing the pressure on elected officials, educated boycotting and buying locally whenever possible.
Purpose of the African Food Systems Transformation Collective. The purpose of the collective is to 1. Bring together a network of multidisciplinary actors working on food systems across the continent. 2. Support and build the local evidence base around food systems and food system transformation. 3. Support advocacy and campaigning by linking research with advocacy organizations. 4. Help to identify key interventions for philanthropic support and to inform a coordinated strategy for philanthropic intervention. A climate-resilient and sustainable food system that enables universal access to affordable nutritious food for current and future generations and delivers improved benefits for farmers and farm workers, particularly smallholder farmers. The East African Community is an intergovernmental organization in East Africa. The EAC's membership consists of 8 states: Democratic Republic of the Congo, the Federal Republic of Somalia, the republics of Burundi, Kenya, Rwanda, South Sudan, Uganda, and Tanzania. The EAC Agriculture and Rural Development Policy, EACARDP, recognizes the importance of eliminating hunger and ensuring sustainable food security within the region as a necessary first step to poverty eradication and consequently a stimulus for rational agricultural development and realization of the aspirations of. If we wait for others to take action on our behalf, we'll be waiting a lifetime. But, if we change our mindset to a mindset of hope and faith in what's just, then nothing is stopping us. This quote serves as a reminder that change starts with individual action and that each one of us has the power to shape the world around us. In today's world, it is easy to feel overwhelmed by the problems and challenges that we face. From poverty and inequality to environmental destruction and social injustice, the problems we face seem insurmountable. However, Gandhi's words remind us that change is possible, and that it begins with us. Being the change we wish to see in the world requires us to take action and stand up for what we believe in. It means living our values and principles, even when it is not easy or popular to do so. It means being a beacon of hope and positivity in a world that is often filled with darkness and negativity.
Agricultural productivity is a big concept with a global impact, but it starts with efficient on-farm management. How productive or efficient our global food production systems can become will significantly impact our future well-being. A high level of productivity in the agricultural sector ensures abundant and affordable food while fostering economic growth and food security and conserving limited natural resources like land and water. This is especially critical as we face expanding populations and climate change extremes predicted to tax our current food production systems. But while agricultural productivity growth has far-reaching, planetary repercussions, improving agricultural efficiency always has and will continue to be accomplished at the farm level, using technological innovation to boost efficient farm management.
Forest and Landscape Restoration, FLOR, provides a framework for implementing restorative interventions that collectively address major environmental challenges such as soil and land degradation, biodiversity loss, water scarcity, lack of sustainable rural livelihoods, and climate change mitigation and adaptation. It is estimated that, at present, the well-being of at least 3 billion people is affected by unsustainable human activities, including natural habitat conversion and loss of land productivity. Among these is the relation between large-scale tree planting and water availability at different scales. There are still many misconceptions and insufficient applied knowledge to elucidate to what extent, and under which environmental conditions, tree planting affects water availability.
Protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation and halt biodiversity loss. Protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation and halt biodiversity loss. A flourishing life on land is the foundation for our life on this planet. We are all part of the planet's ecosystem and we have caused severe damage to it through deforestation, loss of natural habitats and land degradation. Promoting a sustainable use of our ecosystems and preserving biodiversity is not a cause. It is the key to our own survival. Plants use their root exudates as a primary form of communication with their biotic surroundings, facilitating a number of responses such as nutrient absorption, resource competition, same-species signaling, attraction of microorganisms, along with many other interactions. What is the microbial interaction with plant roots? Root-associated microbes, free-living, symbiotic or endophytic, can produce various types of molecules. Rhizosphere microbes mitigate stress responses by regulating the nutritional and hormonal balance in plants and inducing systemic tolerance to biotic and abiotic stresses and plant growth. Mulching is the process of covering the topsoil with plant material such as leaves, grass, twigs, crop residues, straw, etc. A mulch cover enhances the activity of soil organisms such as earthworms. Characteristics of a good mulch. The ideal mulch is economical, readily available, and easily applied and removed, stays in place well, and supplies organic matter to the soil, yet is free of noxious weeds, insects, and diseases. It is a water-soluble biotreatment for new and existing plants, gardens, and landscapes. When applied to the plant's root system, soluble mycorrhizae can help reduce transplant shock and lead in increased water and nutrient. Osmosis plays a central role in the movement of water between cells and various compartments within plants. In the absence of transpiration, osmotic forces dominate the movement of water into roots. Plants can, in fact, absorb water at night. They absorb water through their leaves and roots at night. Although, nighttime may not be the greatest time to water your plants. Watering at night allows the water to remain on the plant for longer periods of time, which might encourage bacterial or fungal growth. About 97 to 99% of the water is lost through transpiration. Transpiration is defined as the physiological loss of water in the form of water vapor, mainly from the stomata in leaves, but also through evaporation from the surfaces of leaves, flowers, and stems. Plants use their root exudates as a primary form of communication with their biotic surroundings, facilitating a number of responses such as nutrient absorption, resource competition, same-species signaling, attraction of microorganisms, along with many other interactions. What is the microbial interaction with plant roots? Root-associated microbes, free-living, symbiotic or endophytic, can produce various types of molecules. Rhizosphere microbes mitigate stress responses by regulating the nutritional and hormonal balance in plants and inducing systemic tolerance to biotic and abiotic stresses and plant growth.
Like all living organisms, plants need nutrients for their proper growth and development. They get carbon, oxygen and hydrogen from air and water to carry out photosynthesis, which is a very important process for plants. But what about mineral nutrients? Where do they get their mineral nutrients from? The answer is soil. The presence of minerals in soil is a result of weathering of parent rocks. This means the parent rocks undergo various chemical and physical mechanical changes, leaving behind these mineral elements in the soil as a result. These minerals in soil are either in absorbed form or in dissolved form. So to absorb the minerals from the soil, plants use their roots and in some cases their leaves. The mineral nutrients absorbed have many functions and roles to play in the body of plants. They are constituents of various proteins, pigments, nucleic acids and enzymes. They also play roles in cell signaling and metabolism. Plants take up these mineral nutrients in the form of ions. This uptake of minerals can either be a passive process, termed as passive transport, which takes place along the concentration gradient, thus requiring no energy, or an active process, termed as active transport, which requires energy because it occurs against the concentration gradient. The passive process transport or absorption can be explained by diffusion theory, the ion exchange theory, and Donan's equilibrium. Diffusion
Soil food web approach. After discovering the soil food web approach, nature's soil operating system, nearly 4 decades ago, and pioneering research in the field, Dr. Elaine Ingham is recognized as the foremost soil biologist in the world. The complete soil food web can be found in virgin soils around the world. Dr. Elaine's soil food web approach is the key to rapid and effective soil regeneration. Only with the complete soil food web in place can the ecological functions of the soil be restored, protecting and purifying the world's waterways, reversing climate change and providing super nutritious foods. Using soil amendments, most soils can be regenerated in the first growing season. There will come a time when only those that know how to plant will be eating. Chief Oran Lyons. If you like African food systems content, please subscribe and share our channel with your friends and family, or if you're new here, hit the subscribe button so you make sure to never miss our weekly presentation podcast. Agriculture is tool to create health, wealth, shelter, protect environment, food, nutrition and basic skills development for our local communities.
Health and nutrition have significant impact on the overall educational achievements of school-aged children. Ensuring that children are well-fed, healthy and able to learn is essential to the effectiveness of an education system. The main goal of the school meals program is to support the government's effort towards attainment of universal primary education, UPE, and education for all, EFA. It has become a significant strategy for reaching marginalized communities, especially girls in the OSIL districts. The program has helped to increase enrollment, prevent dropout and stabilize attendance at assisted pre-primary and primary school. 1.1 Regular School Meals Program, SMP. The regular program involves the physical distribution of food commodities to schools. The bulk of the food is imported, though there are certain cases when food is procured locally, especially cereals. The regular SMP is implemented with support of World Food Programme, WFP, and provides midday meal tea.
How profitable is passion fruit farming? Lucrative passion fruit farming in Kenya. Reality is that, in passion fruit farming, yields of over 15 to 20 tons are possible. In 1 year, a farmer might earn up to 1 million shillings per acre as compared to 35,000 to 60,000 shillings earned from wheat or maize farming. A 1/4 acre can grow about 350 passion plants or more. Additionally, passion fruit contains B group vitamins, mainly B3, niacin, along with B2, riboflavin, and small amounts of B6, pyridoxine. B vitamins are essential for metabolic functions, such as proper protein and fat absorption, energy levels, and eye health, as well as optimal nerve and brain function.
In 1950, only about 10% of the world's births, under 5s, under 18s and adolescents were African. The population of Africa's under 5s will swell by 51% from 179 million in 2015 to 271 million in 2050, and its overall child population, under 18s, will increase by 2/3 from 547 million in 2015 to almost 1 billion by mid-century. It is projected that 1.1 billion children under 18 will be living in Africa by 2100, accounting for almost half, 47%, of the world population of children at that time. Transform 3 million poor farmers from food deficit to surplus producers through input finance and intensive agricultural extension support, with a target to generate minimum productivity target of 50,000 per acre. Knowledge is a garden. If it isn't cultivated, you can't harvest it. About 5,000 stem cuttings can be planted in 1 acre in a spacing of 1 meter by 0.80 meters. 1 tree equals 10 kilograms roots. Total produce 50,000 kilograms. Selling at 20 sh per kilogram. Total sale of 1 million. Total sale from stems. Mini stems 350,000. Total sale of leaves 4. Fodder, eating, 250,000. Pumpkins and beans. Companion crop. Value additions. 200,000.
Is cassava toxic? Avoid eating cassava roots and leaves raw, because it contains naturally occurring forms of cyanide, which are toxic to ingest. Soaking and cooking cassava makes these compounds harmless. Eating raw or incorrectly prepared cassava can lead to severe side effects. The NBA evaluates all GMO permit applications made and aims to reduce and eliminate the potential risks resulting from the proposed GMO activity from stakeholders. Each application undergoes a comprehensive risk assessment that will help determine if the proposed activity is too harmful or the harms can be managed. 1. What is biosafety? Biosafety is a term used to describe efforts to reduce and eliminate the potential risks resulting from biotechnology and its products. 2. What is the difference between biotechnology and modern biotechnology? Biotechnology is the application of science and engineering in the direct or indirect use of living organisms, or parts or products of living organisms, in their natural or modified forms. This term is very broad and includes the use of traditional or conventional breeding, as well as more modern techniques such as genetic engineering. The Kenya Kwanza Manifesto unveiled its platform with agriculture given top priority, with the main drive being agriculture transformation and inclusive growth. The manifesto notes that Kenya Kwanza will implement significant changes in the agriculture industry as well as food production, including rigorous price restrictions and the provision of farming equipment. They will also give neglected regions and crops the policy and financial support they deserve. They will also give neglected regions and crops the policy and financial support they deserve. Kenya Kwanza promises to invest at least KSHS 250 billion in 2023 to 2027 in order to be more production-oriented and cut back on capital-intensive infrastructure finance. Maintain mostly aerobic soil conditions by balancing the availability of water and oxygen in the soil to avoid the suffocation and degeneration of rice plant roots as well as of soil organisms such as bacteria and earthworms. Build up the soil's fertility by A. enhancing soil organic matter to nourish the plants and soil biota, and B. maintaining the soil in mostly aerobic condition. In lowland areas, CA promotes the system of permanent raised beds for growing irrigated or rain-fed wetland rice without disturbing the soil, or disturbing it only once. Forming raised beds initially requires a non-trivial expenditure of labor and/or capital if construction is mechanized, but this is a one-time expenditure that leads subsequently to lower expenditure for both labor and fossil fuel. Mulching is the process of covering the topsoil with plant material such as leaves, grass, twigs, crop residues, straw, etc. A mulch cover enhances the activity of soil organisms such as earthworms. Characteristics of a good mulch. The ideal mulch is economical, readily available, and easily applied and removed, stays in place well, and supplies organic matter to the soil, yet is free of noxious weeds, insects, and diseases. Soil electrical conductivity, referred to as EC, is the ability of soil to conduct, transmit, or attenuate electrical current. EC is expressed in millisiemens per meter, ms/sem, or at times is reported in decisiemens per meter, ds/sem. Over the years, soil scientists have used EC to measure soil salinity. What is a good electrical conductivity level in soil? Different plants have different suitable soil EC values according to the characteristics of fertilizer requirements and different growth stages. The optimal EC value for plant growth is usually between 0.8 to 1.8 and should not exceed 2.5. Once the test results are in, the mill will tell you how much lime you need to add per acre. In general, it takes 1.2 tons of agricultural lime per acre to raise the pH of a loam soil by 1 point. It is half that for sandy soil and almost double for clay soil. Sampling for assessment of lime requirements. Soil samples should be taken methodically from a number of places in the field and tested individually since acidity frequently occurs in patches in the field. Test results should be plotted on a field map so that any lime required may be applied in the right place and at the correct and most economic rate. Although poor and patchy crop performance and the presence of acid-loving weed species are rough indications of lime deficiency, the acid reaction to indicator solution or pH meter is the only reliable method of assessing lime requirements. A high analysis source of the micronutrient manganese, Mn. Manganese plays an essential role in photosynthesis and, when available in adequate amounts, can enhance stress tolerance. It is an activator for over 35 different enzymes and increases lignin biosynthesis, which can reduce attacks from soil-borne pathogens. Therefore, applications of manganese sulfate can be effective at improving disease resistance and help to activate important enzymatic processes for an overall higher functioning plant. Manganese sulfate is delivered in a highly soluble, 99.5% minimum, powdered format and contains a guaranteed minimum of 31.5% manganese and 18.5% sulfur. The ecophysiology and diversity of trichoderma and the complexity of its relationships in the agroecosystem, highlighting its potential as a direct and indirect biological control agent, biostimulant and biofertilizer, which are useful multipurpose properties for agricultural applications. We also highlight how the present legislative framework might accommodate the demonstrated evidence of trichoderma proficiency as a plant beneficial microorganism contributing towards eco-sustainable agriculture. Trichoderma is a cosmopolitan and opportunistic ascomycete fungal genus including species that are of interest to agriculture as direct biological control agents of phytopathogens. Trichoderma utilizes direct antagonism and competition, particularly in the rhizosphere, where it modulates the composition of and interactions with other microorganisms. In its colonization of plants, on the roots or as an endophyte, Trichoderma has evolved the capacity to communicate with the plant and produce numerous multifaceted benefits to its host. The intricacy of this plant-microorganism association has stimulated a marked interest in research on Trichoderma, ranging from its capacity as a plant growth promoter to its ability to prime local and systemic defense responses against biotic and abiotic stresses and to activate transcriptional memory affecting plant responses to future stresses.
रहित गोबर होता है, उस गोबर को लेना है। वो आइए मैं बताता हूँ कैसे लेना है। अभी जो ये आप देख रहे हैं गोबर जो 3-4 महीना पुराना सूखा जैसा गोबर है, और उस गोबर से अभी एक ऐसा खाद तैयार करेंगे जो खेत में आने वाली फंगस, जो मिट्टी में फंगस आती है, जैसे कि मूंगफली की जड़ को सफ़ेद फंगस जो चक्कर लगा देती है, सोयाबीन की जड़ को सफ़ेद फंगस चक्कर लगा देती है, भिंडी की जड़ को सफ़ेद कर लगा देती है, ऐसे हल्दी की खेती में हल्दी की जड़ में सफ़ेद फंगस आ जाती है, ऐसे अदरक में सफ़ेद फंगस आ जाती है। कहीं पर भी फंगस हो तो फंगस का एक ये देसी प्रयोग है जो गाय के गोबर और गुड़, छाछ, गोमूत्र और एक ट्राइकोडर्मा करके बैक्टीरिया आता है, उससे जो खाद बनती है, और वो खाद कैसे बनती है, कितने वजन में लेना है और कैसे यूज करना है, उसके बारे में आज आपको थोड़ा दिखाने का प्रयास करते हैं। ये इसमें 2 किलो गुड़ डालना है, किलो भी डाल सकते हैं और आप ज़्यादा भी डाल सकते हैं, 3 किलो 4 किलो। पुराना गुड़ होना चाहिए, जो गुड़ भी केमिकल रहित होना चाहिए। इसमें 3 किलो और 100 ग्राम जैसा गुड़ है, और अब इसमें छाछ डाली जाएगी। ये 4 लीटर और 700 ग्राम के करीब छाछ डाला है हमने। अब इसमें नीचे लेके बैक्टीरिया डालेंगे। अब इसमें जो है ये 10 किलो बैक्टीरिया डालेंगे, जो ट्राइकोडर्मा है और पूरे देश में मिलता है। एक जैविक बायोटेक्नोलॉजी से बना हुआ कल्चर है। ये गुड़ और छाछ से मिलने के बाद ये लगभग जो है 1 करोड़ गुना काम ज़्यादा करेगा। गुड़, छाछ और गोबर में इसको मिला के 24 घंटा या 72 घंटा आप इसको रख देते हैं, तो जो जैसे ये गुड़, छाछ और गोबर से मिलेगा, पुराना गोबर से ये बैक्टीरिया, तो ये हो जाएगा, उसकी काम करने की क्षमता 1 करोड़ गुना बढ़ जाएगी। ये इस प्रकार से जो अपने सूखे गोबर और रेत का जो ढेर बनाया है, उसमें इस प्रकार से इसका छिड़काव करके वो जितना भी गोबर है उन सब के साथ टच कर जाना चाहिए। ये छाछ, कल्चर और गुड़, ये उसके साथ टच होने के बाद तुरंत अपनी प्रक्रियाओं 1 घंटे में करोड़ों में डाइवर्ट करने की, ब्लास्टिंग करने की कामगिरी चालू करेंगे। और इसको 24 घंटा रखेंगे या 40 घंटा रखेंगे तो लगभग ये करोड़ों की संख्या में इसका काम हो जाएगा। तो जैसे आपने 10 किलो लिया है, ये यदि इस प्रकार से प्रक्रिया करके यूज करते हैं तो ये 10 किला का 1000 किला हो जाएगा। ऐसा ही समझो कि ये 1000 किलो कल्चर आपने खेत में डाला है। और इस प्रकार से ये कल्चर आप हर साल डालोगे। जिसके खेत में ज़्यादा फंगस आती है वो हर साल ऐसा डालेंगे, तो 3 साल 4 साल कंटिन्यू डालने के बाद जो पौधे को खाने वाली फंगस है वो अपने आप आना ही बंद हो जाएगी। फिर जैसे मूंगफली का सूखना, गवार का सूखना, गन्ने का सूखना, भिंडे का सूखना, जीरे का सूखना, ये जो सुखाने वाला जड़ को खाने वाला जो फंगस है वो फंगस आना ही बंद हो जाएगा। तो इस प्रकार से गोबर को दिव्य खाद बना के आप खेत में यूज़ कर सकते हो और ये बहुत निर्दोष है, बहुत आसान है और इसको करना बारिश के समय में ही उचित है। बारिश के समय में जो बारिश के पानी है वो एकदम कल्चराइज पानी होता है और एकदम शुद्ध होता है। तो वो पानी जैसे ही ये कल्चर के साथ टच करेगा तो वो पानी इसको ज़मीन में लेके चला जाएगा। जैसे ये डालने के बाद इसके ऊपर बारिश गिरेगी तो वो पानी के साथ ये मतलब 2-2 फीट की गहराई तक जाके ये बैक्टीरिया काम करेगा। तो एक बार आपने अच्छे से डाला है तो उस खेत में सूर्य की रोशनी, गर्मी बढ़ेगी जब गर्मियों के सीज़न में, तो 1 फीट नीचे चला जाएगा, 2 फीट नीचे चला जाएगा। जो नीचे गया है वो बारिश में वापस अपने आप ऊपर आएगा। तो ऐसे बारिश के माहौल में ऐसा करने से जो ज़मीन की कृमि है, जिसको कृमि बोलते हैं खेत की कृमि, वो अपने आप नष्ट हो जाएगी। तो इस प्रकार से गोबर के 1000 प्रकार के उपयोग है गाय के गोबर के, और ऐसे सक्सेसफुल जो प्रयोग है वो मैं आपके सामने रजू करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ। आप यदि दिल से गौमाता के गोबर का उपयोग और गोबर के बारे में किसानों तक जानकारी पहुँचाने का प्रयास करेंगे तो ये भी एक बहुत बड़ी किसान की सेवा, प्रकृति सेवा और गौमाता की सेवा है। और जो भी सिर्फ लेक्चर दे के वीडियो बनाते हैं उसकी वीडियो में मत आइए, फंसने का काम है और ऐसे जिहादी लोगों से बचिए, ये भी एक बहुत बड़ी सेवा है। इस प्रकार से इसको 2 पलटी लगा देना है और ये लगभग होगा 300 किलो के आसपास गोबर होगा सूखा, और 3 किलो गुड़, 5 किलो छाछ और 10 किलो ट्राइकोडर्मा बैक्टीरिया। अब ये प्रक्रिया करने से 10 किलो ट्राइकोडर्मा 1000 किलो के बराबर काम करेगा, क्योंकि गुड़, गोबर और छाछ बैक्टीरिया का खुराक है। तो हमने बाहर से ही ट्राइकोडर्मा बैक्टीरिया को खाना दे दिया। अब ये खाना इसको 10-12 दिन तक चलेगा। 12 दिन में तो वो ज़मीन के कण कण में घुस जाएगा। तो इस प्रकार से जब आप पलटी लगाते हैं तो मिक्स हो जाना चाहिए, मतलब अच्छे से। आपको कैसे डालना वो भी बताएंगे आगे, ये वीडियो में आगे कंटिन्यू रहिए, पूरा अंत तक देखें इसको। जय गौ माता दोस्तों, आज मैं आपको ये दिखाऊंगा, अगली 31 तारीख को हम लोगों ने ये मूंगफली की बुआई की है और ये मूंगफली G20 है, जो हमारी पुरानी वैरायटी है, जो तेल के लिए जानी जाती है और बहुत अच्छी वैरायटी है। सिंगदाने खाने में भी अच्छी है, इसका चारा भी गाय के लिए अच्छा है और दाना में प्रोटीन भी अच्छा है और गाय के लिए, इंसान के लिए। तो आइए मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ। 1 महीने में आप देख सकते हैं अभी इसके बीच इतना अंतर है। ये 30 इंच की लाइन है, ये 2 लाइन है, ये 30 इंच। तो ये इतनी सी जगह रही है, अब आप मान सकते हैं कि 7 से 10 इंच की जगह है, 1 महीने में इतना ग्रो कर गई। और आप देख सकते हैं इसमें फ्लावरिंग, 1 महीने में इतनी फ्लावरिंग कि आप देखते रह जाएंगे। देखिए, तो ये है गौ माता का चमत्कार। इसके अंदर कोई भी केमिकल यूज नहीं हुआ है, देख सकते हैं आप। कोई भी पौधा खोल के देख सकते हैं कितनी फ्लावरिंग है। तो ये अपने आप में एक गौ माता का बहुत बड़ा चमत्कार है। और इसी प्रकार से आप पूरे खेत में भी, हमारे खेत में जो मूंगफली की खेत होती है ना किसानों को, उसमें सूखा आता है, जो एक कीड़ा आता है सफ़ेद, वो जड़ काट देता है और पौधा सूख जाता है, खेत खाली हो जाते हैं। और हमारे यहाँ आप देख सकते हैं इसमें आपको पूरे खेत में कहीं पर एक पौधा सूखा हुआ नहीं मिलेगा। ये अपने आप में बहुत बड़ी सामर्थ्यता है गौ माता की और गौ माता की शक्ति है। बंधुओं, जो मैंने आपको जो फूगनाशक बनाने का विधि बताया, गाय के गोबर से, गुड़ से और एक ट्राइकोडर्मा बैक्टीरिया जो आता है कल्चर, उसी से जो फूगनाशक बनाने का बताया, अब उसको मूंगफली में कैसे डालने का वो भी मैं आपको बताता हूँ। ये मूंगफली आप देख सकते हैं अभी 2 महीने की हुई है, सिर्फ 2 महीने की। और ये गौ माता की कसम से इसमें एक भी केमिकल पेस्टिसाइड यूज़ नहीं हुआ है। अभी ये मूंगफली के पास 2 महीना है और आप मुझे देख सकते हैं ये मेरे घुटनों के ऊपर आ गई है, घुटनों से भी ऊपर आ गई है। और आप पूरे खेत में देखेंगे तो कहीं पर भी एक भी रोग या एक भी नुकसानकारक वो नहीं दिखता। मतलब आप पूरे खेत में देखेंगे तो जो बगल वाले का खेत देखेंगे तो आप देख सकते हैं पीला दिखाई देगा, जो सामने दिख रहा है वो उसकी मूंगफली, वही मूंगफली भी वहाँ पे भी मूंगफली ही है लेकिन वो पीली दिखती है। जब अपने खेत में देखेंगे सिर्फ बीच में 10 फीट का फासला है, तो अपने खेत में देखेंगे तो एकदम ग्रीनरी और काली दिखेगी। तो यही है गौ माता का चमत्कार और किसान भाइयों को ये समझना चाहिए और देखना चाहिए। एकदम बिना खर्चे से सिर्फ गाय के गोबर व गौमूत्र से इतना उत्पादन होता है, तो केमिकल का इस्तेमाल क्यों करना चाहिए। तो इस प्रकार जो है ये बैक्टीरिया जो मिलाया हुआ खाद है जिसके अंदर एक नुकसानकारक फंगस को खाने का कल्चर है, ये एकदम नमी और गीली ज़मीन में डालना है। मतलब बारिश जैसा माहौल हो इसी में ही डालना है, ताकि इसके जो बारिश के पानी से ये ज़मीन में जाएगा और ज़मीन में जो फूग है फंगस उसको खाने का काम करेगा। और 100% रिजल्ट है इसका। आज शाम को आप डालोगे तो कल आपको एक भी फूग देखने को, फंगस देखने को नहीं मिलेगी। और ये मैंने बहुत बार किया है, ये पहली बार नहीं कर रहा हूँ। लगभग ये प्रयोग हम 10 से 12 साल से कर रहे हैं और इतना रिजल्ट देखने के बाद मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ। अभी सौराष्ट्र गुजरात में जो मूंगफली लगती है वहाँ एक कीड़े आते हैं जो ज़मीन के, और वो कीड़े जो है पूरी मूंगफली को खा जाते हैं और किसानों का 4-4, 5-5 एकड़ का खेत खाली हो जाता है। जबकि हमारे यहाँ आप देख सकते हैं एक भी पौधा सूखा हुआ नहीं है और एक भी फंगस नहीं है और किसी भी प्रकार का चूसने वाला कीड़ा नहीं है, मच्छी नहीं है, एकदम तंदुरुस्त मूंगफली है। तो ये एक प्रकार का गौ माता का ही चमत्कार है और इस प्रकार से सभी को उपयोग करना चाहिए और जितना हो सके उतना टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ इसको जोड़ना चाहिए। इस प्रकार से मैं सभी किसानों से निवेदन करूंगा कि गौ माता का गोबर और गौमूत्र ही सर्वश्रेष्ठ जीवनदाता है। चाहे वो मूंगफली का जीवन हो, चाहे इंसानों का जीवन हो, चाहे प्रकृति का जीवन हो, जो अपने खेत को हरा भरा करता है, सजीव करता है, सात्विक करता है, पवित्रता प्रदान करता है और ब्रह्मांड की आध्यात्मिक एनर्जी प्रदान करता है। तो ऐसे खेतों का खाना जैसे मूंगफली, गेहूँ, चना, हल्दी, टमाटर, आलू, मिर्ची, बैंगन, ये जो
Precautions. Don't use chemical fungicide after application of trichoderma for 4 to 5 days. Don't use trichoderma in dry soil. Moisture is an essential factor for its growth and survivability. Don't put the treated seeds in direct sun rays. Don't keep the treated FYM for longer duration. Plant growth promoter, trichoderma strain solubilize phosphates and micronutrients. The application of trichoderma strains with plants increases the number of deep roots, thereby increasing the plant's ability to resist drought. Trichoderma sp is categorized as decomposer fungi for having the nature of saprophyte, thus the role is providing free organic matter, especially in the provision process of compost. One of solutions to accelerate organic matter decompositions is by using the fungus Trichoderma sp. Trichoderma sp will reduce organic matter such as the carbohydrates, especially cellulose, with the help of a cellulase enzyme. Healthy seedlings with good growth and vigor contribute to disease resistance and improved yield. It is important to identify strategies for improved growth vigor and disease resistance. Trichoderma spp and AMF are known to promote growth and resistance to diseases in plants. There is immediate potential for the farmer to use microbial inoculants such as AMF and TE Hersleyanism, especially when the seedlings are raised in the nursery beds and are later transplanted in the field. Adding microbial growth and biocontrol agents to the roots of transplants is an effective and inexpensive means to provide a more vigorous transplant with disease protection when it is transplanted into the field.
Many strains of Butere bassiana are found worldwide in the soil. They control insects by growing on them, secreting enzymes that weaken the insect's outer coat, and then getting inside the insect and continuing to grow, eventually killing the infected pest. Live fungi are used to combat insect pests of crop plants and to control the growth of weeds. Butere bassiana is an entomopathogen that infects a huge variety of insects and is used to control crop infestations by aphids, thrips, and whitefly. Using Butere bassiana for insect management. Butere bassiana is a fungus which causes a disease known as the white muscardine disease in insects. When spores of this fungus come in contact with the cuticle, skin, of susceptible insects, they germinate and grow directly through the cuticle to the inner body of their host. Here the fungus proliferates throughout the insect's body, producing toxins and draining the insect of nutrients, eventually killing it. Therefore, unlike Bacter.
Risk: the label of a pesticide containing Butere bassiana will have specific information about potential risks to people and the environment. In general, products containing Butere bassiana may cause eye irritation and can be harmful if inhaled, swallowed, or absorbed through the skin. Potentially harmful to beneficial insects and honeybees do not apply to areas where pollinators are actively foraging. May be toxic to fish, do not discharge reinstate into bodies of water or public waterways or apply this product over standing water or near aquatic habitats. A common symptom of insects that are infected by Butere bassiana is the appearance of dense, white spores on the surface of the insect. The fungal species Trichoderma is frequently found in soil antagonizing plant pathogenic fungi as well as parasitizing plant pathogenic nematodes. Metarhizium species are insect pathogenic fungi that are used throughout the world to control agricultural insect pests. Metarhizium is a genus of highly abundant fungi with several identities. They are best known for their ability to infect and kill many different arthropods, but most are also saprophytes, rhizosphere colonizers, and beneficial root endophytes, with the ability to switch between these different lifestyles. Furthermore, Metarhizium forms a monophyletic clade with the nematode pathogen Metarhizium representatives have transitioned to fungal and even lizard hosts.
The bacterial of Pseudomonas also help in the nitrogen fixation process in the soil. Pseudomonas fluorescens improves the soil properties by improving soil permeability and oxygen availability to the roots. Proper oxygen supply will prevent root diseases, fungal formations and root rots. The fertilizer is efficient in controlling rice blight in paddy crops. Improves the uptake of nutrients by roots.
The most important genera against soil pathogens are Trichoderma, Pseudomonas and Bacillus. The Trichoderma spp. Have a positive in soil, increases plant defense mechanism, mineral solubilization and improvement in root morphology, enabling roots to cover large volume of soil. According to Pusapati et al., 2014, to adapt to extreme conditions such as high temperatures, some Trichoderma produce stress protectant and thus Trichoderma are able to grow well up to 37 to 40 degrees Celsius. Seed treatment with Trichoderma spp. Trigger seed to produce enzymes and phytohormones required for seed germination and also enhance seed germination and seedling vigor.
Soil application: 5 kilograms or 2 liters of metarhizium should be mixed thoroughly with 250 kilograms FIM in shaded area in the field and incubated for 15 days with intermittent sprinkling of water. After 15 days, the fungus-enriched farmyard manure should be used as soil application. Foliar spray: mix 2 to 3 milliliters or 5 grams of metarhizium in 1 liter of water and spray the suspension over the plant for 2 to 3 times at 15 days intervals.
There will come a time when only those that know how to plant will be eating. Chief Oran Lions. If you like African food systems content, please subscribe and share our channel with your friends and family. Or if you're new here, hit the subscribe button so you make sure to never miss our weekly presentation podcast. Agriculture is tool to create health, wealth, shelter, protect environment, food, nutrition and basic skills development for our local communities.